the other developments as well as the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State. And to do that, we're joined by legal practitioner and public affairs analyst Towo Osarowoja, who is joining us from the United Kingdom. Towo, it's good to have you join us. We appreciate you for doing this with us. But let's get started. So much has happened in Rivers State, not just from the elections, but also months back. And it feels like this is a climax. So I have to ask you, what are the the potential political implications of Siminalayi Fubara allegedly backing the Action People's Party, APP, in Rivers State local government elections, despite being a member of the PDP?
You are welcome, Judith. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, let's look at it from this perspective. You just asked a question, and in answering that question, I want to ask in return, or ask the audience in return, that what is the benefit of Wike supporting the All Progressive Congress in the just concluded general election? So you could see that it's basically personal interest and maintain of all exhibition of power. And Rivers State as a state, if you look at every electionary regime, Rivers State has been known for violence. They've been known for political torso, which is quite different from what we have in other states. When it comes to politicians or political actors trying to take over a structure or trying to exhibit their power or stand on who they want to become an elected officer or a selected officer of the government. So, one, let me look at the perception of Wike and his attitude towards the current event. First of all, we should agree to the fact that Wike is a key factor when it comes to the PDP as far back towards the tail end, towards the general election. Because after PDP lost that at the central, if you look at the history thus far, you notice that Wike somehow can be linked to the fact that he bankrolled PDP to some extent. So that betrayal at the primary is what is still hitting him down to what is going on in Rivers State now. Mm-hmm. And if I may advise Wike, or if you have a political advisor, or if he's close to historian, he will know that the end result will not be that well with what is going on in Rivers State. The end result will not be that well. And we should try and borrow the leave from what some political godfathers or acclaimed godfathers or key actors do in their areas to maintain sanity and to wait for the next political dispensation. What is happening in Rivers State is also happening in Benue State, but it's not. You can't hear it. You can never hear it on the news because the key factors, the key players, they know their honor, they know their strength, and they know the appropriate time to strike and what not to do. And in other states, the things are like that. But I'm scared that when it comes to the South State in the South and the Southeast, the result is different.
Right. I mean, speaking of, the internal dynamics that you just pointed out, you've pointed out Benue State, but let's look at South now, right? Especially with River State being our primary focus here. How might Wike's accusation against Fubara affect the internal dynamics of the PDP, both in River State and even nationally?
Okay. First of all, you could see that you cannot underestimate the enormous power of the state governor. You can never estimate the enormous power of the state governor. And I'll tell you for free, as time goes on, with the with Fubara's calculation, I'll tell you that those self-declared political party who emerged local government chairmen, they are prone to decamp either to either side. And constitutionally, legally, there is no constitutional restriction to them, local government chairman, from jumping one party to another, because you could see that it's basically individual interest and control of the structure. Right. So it's a calculated attempt for Fubara, and I will tell you for free that at the end of it still goes back to the People Democratic Party. Do not forget that part of the people who grace the occasion is the Bauchi State Governor, who happens to be the PDP governors, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum. So is a calculated attempt to see to take over structure from one particular individual to another. So it's left for Wike on his own path to be a bit, I won't say it should be wise, but it should try and exhibit wisdom in this crisis. Yeah, at the tail end of it, he may likely be the sacrificial lamb, because take it or leave it. Whoever that wants to determine the strength of the 2027 will want to form with a certain individual who has a stronger ally in the north than an individual who just have a political ally with some part of the south who is struggling at this particular point in time.
Now, I'm so glad we're having this conversation about PDP, right? Because you also mentioned Wike's, support for President Bola Tinubu, which he has stated repeatedly that, and I'm going to quote him here, quote, he has supported Bola, the president during the last election cycle for equity, fairness, and justice. Giving his support and the APC in the 2023 election, how do you see his relationship with the PDP evolving in the near future? And I ask this because do you think that the PDP will have the willpower to be able to do the right thing, in quotation marks, when it comes to this situation?
Well, the PDP, you should know that currently the PDP, the reason why Wike is still in the PDP is for the purpose of who is currently the acting chairman. And you know that when he's talking about equity and fairness, you discover that the acting chairman is not currently from the North Central. So if the acting chairman, when the fairness comes to play, you discover that Wike is going to pick his cap. And is going to pick his cap because the current acting chairman of the People's Democratic Party now is benefiting from this ongoing crisis in the party. Reason being that if the party is well organized, the chairmanship is going to shift from its current position to the appropriate position according to the understanding zoning and constitutional zoning when it comes to the chairmanship of the political party. Then for Wike on his own part, when you talk about fairness and equity, well, I will agree with him to some extent that what transpired at the PDP primary is enough for him to sit down and be careful in his political move and calculation. Because take it or leave it, you cannot underestimate the influence or the role Wike played in making sure that Tambuwal returned the governor of Sokoto State. But you could see what played out at the primary. Tambuwal categorically came out and supported Atiku. So you should know that when it comes to politics, individualism, as far as it is in Nigeria, matters a lot. Then outside the individualism, proper calculation also matters a lot. Then at the tail end of it, you discover that PDP, just like any other political party, may not likely be stable for the 2027 general election that is coming, because individual players are more than the general interest of the party. Right. So it's individualism. And for Wike support for Tinubu, well, I could see how far it could go, but I know Tinubu to be someone who is so calculative, whose interests whose decision will be so determined by his interest and what he can get from any other person, what he can get from you. So as time goes on, we could see the play that will come. But PDP for 2027, I doubt if they can put their house in order. All
right. Well, Towo, I must say thank you so much. So much for an opposition party, especially at a time like this where we need checks and balances when it comes to the executive arm of governance. But once again, Towo, many thanks. Towo is a public affairs.
You're welcome.
Thank you.